Hey, what's up, guys? It's Randall from OddsJam back with you for another video. Going to talk to you about how you can bet on player props and be profitable, but also, the best tips and strategies for betting on player props. Obviously, player props have become more and more popular as sports betting has grown, and it's something that everybody is into. You see all of the wild parlays on Twitter with player props. You've obviously got the same game parlays. There's all kinds of ways that you can bet these player props, and it's something that, again, has become very, very popular, but you can definitely make some mistakes in betting player props. So I'm here to share, again, just some tips, some strategies on how you can best bet these player props and hopefully profit from them as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to hop over here to OddsJam, and I've pulled up a few games to just kind of show you some different player props that are out there. Now, certainly you can see, Kenny Pickett in this example, his rushing yards are 15.5, 16.5. Again, not a big difference. And in fact, that's actually on Thrive Fantasy. So all of the sports books are sitting at 16.5. But if we take a look here at Leonard Fournette, we can see that FanDuel has Leonard Fournette at minus 113. PointsBet has him at 60.5. A couple of these fantasy sites have him at 62.5. A couple of the books have him at 63.5. So what you need to do when you're betting on player props is you need to shop around. You absolutely have to. And if you're not, on any of these books, you can sign up for them. They all have deposit bonuses. You can take advantage of those. Links are going to be in the description below. But besides that, like I said, if I'm only using Caesars and I want to bet on this Leonard Fournette prop, I have to either take over 63.5 or under 63.5. But if I had FanDuel, I would be able to take the over or the under. Now, in this case, certainly if I'm taking the under, I would want to take under 63.5 and not under 58.5. Assuming that, 5 yards is worth roughly 16 cents. And that's something that, you just kind of have to determine on your own. Is 5 yards worth that? But if you're going to take the over and you have Caesars only, you would have to take over 63.5. Whereas if you have FanDuel, you can take over 58.5. Obviously, if Fournette ends with 62 yards, your Caesars bet would lose, your FanDuel bet would cash. So it's important to line shop because there are so many discrepancies in the number of yards for these player props. And again, this is just a 5-yard difference, but it's enough that it can make a difference when you're betting. We'll come over here to this San Francisco 49ers game and the Atlanta Falcons game. And again, not a big discrepancy here, but I mean, we can see George Kittle over 41.5 at quite a few books that we see, at least that I have, 45.5 on PointsBet and FanDuel. And so again, if we're looking to take the over, if he lands in between 42 and 45 and we take over 45 because we only have PointsBet, we lose our bet. Whereas we could take 41.5 at a better price than what the 45.5 is. So again, very, very important to shop around to make sure you are getting the best value. And again, it's not going to be every player, every prop. Drake London here, pretty uniform across the board. 2-yard difference. Do you weigh 2 yards being worth, 12 to 15 cents? That again would be, up to you. But you have to shop around on these player props because there are just so many discrepancies across these sports books. And again, here, one last example, and not a big discrepancy, but Zach Wilson here, 213.5 yards on FanDuel, 216.5 at the other books. Aaron Rodgers is 240.5 on PointsBet. Most of the other books, 241.5 on some, 242.5 on others, some sitting at 243.5. So when you're betting on player props, it's absolutely critical. I mean, you can come to OddsJam. This is 100% free to use. You can shop lines. You can compare odds on any game that you want. And you shouldn't only be doing this with player props. You should be doing it with all of your bets, but definitely with player props, because there is so much discrepancy in those lines. Now, one last thing that I wanted to talk about was, betting on player props with different strategies and stuff, and how to, best utilize some of those same game parlays. So in this example, we could say we're going to build a same game parlay in this Buccaneers Steelers game. We're going to look and see what book has the best odds. Now, let's just say, for example, that it's FanDuel. FanDuel is the spot that we're going to bet our same game parlay. So what I want to do is I want to see where I can get the best odds in FanDuel. Now, we can see right now that some of these books some of these players don't have props on FanDuel, but like this Najee Harris, if we wanted to add that to, our same game parlay, again, we have to decide, are we taking the over or the under? Based on this, we're probably going to take the over, but the books have the under juiced. So this might be one that we pass on. Whereas, Fournette, maybe it looks a little bit better to take the over. There is a little bit of juice to the under 63.5. But again, it just kind of depends on what you value, 5 yards at in terms of value to the line. So if I'm building a same game parlay, again, if I'm doing even a point spread, I want to build this same game parlay to have the absolute best odds that I can. So, if I'm looking to take the Bucks minus 8.5, that looks like a pretty good leg. I mean, the average odds are minus 123. This is the best number that's out there. Now, if I was betting it on DraftKings, I wouldn't want to take minus 127 because I can get minus 120 at FanDuel. So again, just the power of line shopping. But like I said, player props, so important. You have to shop around on player props. There's so much discrepancy. And then also, you can get middles. You can check out the middles bets page on OddsJam. Obviously, that would require a subscription. But on Sunday mornings in the NFL, there are a ton of middle bets. Let's say a player to go over 24.5 receiving yards, under 29.5 receiving yards. You can bet both sides. No matter what happens, you're not going to lose any money. And if the guy lands on 27, you win both bets. So again, check out the middles page if you have a subscription. If you don't, we obviously offer a trial. But if you're not interested in a subscription, that's perfectly fine. You're just interested in betting player props on your own. Always make sure you're line shopping. Always make sure you're getting the best of the number. And you can do that on OddsJam 100% free. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If so, give us a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.